making cinnamon rolls this morning. It's pretty early, but you have to make them early because it takes about an hour for them to rise. So first of all, I have an empty bowl. I have some water here. It's just slightly warm, body temperature. To the water, I'm going to add some yeast. I'm just about out of yeast here, so I'm going to have to go down in the freezer and get another pound package of yeast. This has lasted probably about 1.5 years, 2 years in the refrigerator. I'm putting about, a good tablespoon and a half of dry yeast in my water. You have to dissolve yeast in water. You can't just throw it in your liquid. It has to be in water. This activates it so it can start growing. It's dormant until you put it in warm water. And now it will grow. It'll start eating whatever it's put into. If you heat it too much, you'll kill the yeast. The only thing that can kill yeast is high heat. It can be in the freezer. It can be in the freezer for years. So there's the yeast, and it's going to be nice. There's perfect. So, in the meantime, set that aside. I'm going to take a scoop of Crisco. I could use butter. I could use white Crisco. I could use butter Crisco. I could use margarine. Okay, I'm going to put in a scoop. How much is that? That's probably 1/3 of a cup. I'm saying 1/3 of a cup, just taking a guess. Then to that, I'm going to add, how much milk have I got here? This is whole milk. I'm probably going to add, probably a cup and a half. Maybe a cup and a half. Need more liquid. So, half and half. I'll add maybe another half a cup. I got 2 cups. 2 cups total. 2 cups total of liquid. 2 cups total of liquid. I'll put this in the microwave and heat it for about 1 minute. It's been 1 minute in the microwave, and the perfect body temperature. Yeast is going to love it. To this, I'm going to add, since we're making a sweet dough yeast, a sweet yeast dough uses yeast, milk, butter or shortening, and sugar. A pizza dough would use water and yeast and a little bit of sugar. And of course, then to all that you add flour. So that's the difference. So now I'm going to add probably a scoop of sugar on a sweet dough. So mix this up a bit. I know the shortening did not melt. That's okay. That's okay. It's going to start. It's going to start going in there when we, good temperature. Good temperature. Now I'm going to add my yeast. Okay. And now I'm going to start adding flour. Add a little bit of flour first to be able to mix it and make a soupy in here. Get it mixed up first. Slurry. Some more flour. Bread flour. Bread flour is, this is the cheapest I found, $2.39 a bag. Usually the King Arthur or the Gold Medal is like $3.50 a bag. This is the cheapest I found. But bread flour is finer than regular all-purpose flour. And because it's finer, almost like baby powder, it makes the bread and the sweet rolls soft and spongy, and makes them rise really well. See, it's getting to be a good consistency. You can see how that yeast is working. See, it's like elasticy. So now once you get this elasticy business here, see all that? Oh, that's nice. That's a good dough. See, it's nice and elasticy. And you add some more flour. And you add enough flour. Now I'm going to take this off. I put the flour on here so that when it comes off my hand, and it won't stick to my hands too much. I can do it like that. See, it's not too bad. If you do it the other way, you have a gazillion mess on your fingers. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now this is a plastic, it's a piece of plastic, that's all. This is very handy now for starting to work the flour in. Now how much flour do you add? Well, you really can't, in any recipe it will give you an approximation. You want to add enough flour so that when you, notice I'm turning the bowl and pulling that flour in and back and forth. It'd be like dough hooks on a machine. It'd be back and forth, until all the flour that I have in there is mixed in. And the dough, you want the dough and add enough flour so that your dough is of the consistency of Play-Doh. And you can play with it. Now, it's getting to be pretty good consistency there. Now, what I can do is add some flour on the here. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. You can just keep working it like this if you want. If you don't want to make a mess on your counter, you can just keep taking some flour like this, put it in your hands, and working it, flop it around. Flop it around. Got it in the bowl still. A little more flour, flopping it around. Push down. Now for those of you who can't see in the bowl, or would rather do the counter, I'd rather do the counter. I can beat it more. Push it and turn it. Push it and turn it. Push it and turn it. Let it pick up the flour. Push it and turn it. 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 It picks up the flour. Picks up the flour. Push it and turn it. Push down, turn it. Now it's still a little tacky. Just a little tacky. A little more flour. Push it and turn it. Push it and turn it. Push, push. It's a great exercise for your arm. A little more flour, just a little more, because it's still a little tacky. You don't want it too dry, but you don't want it too tacky. Now it's feeling pretty good. Okay, now it's not tacky. Pick up the rest of the flour with it. Okay. So all the flour is blended in now. You don't see any white flour. Get it off my hands. And see, I can hold it with my hands without it sticking. Now it's like Play-Doh. It's like Play-Doh. Okay? So now that it's like Play-Doh, I take it, stick it back in my bowl, put the top on it, put it in a warm place to rise. It'll double in about an hour. The bread is rising, and now I'm going to clean up my mess. I use my same scraper here to scrape off. Great way to clean a counter, much easier. There we go. And in the meantime now, I'm going to take a bowl. I'm going to take a stick of butter. A stick of butter in a bowl. Cut the butter up into little pieces. I think I'm going to use a half a stick of butter. because otherwise it gets too mucky. Half a stick of butter, melt it in the microwave for 20 seconds. You want a fairly deep pan. I don't want to have to haul out everything, so I'm going to use a glass pan. Spray the glass pan. Set it aside, it's ready to go. Okay, got the butter melted. Get another whisk, a spoon. Spoon. There's the butter. To this I'm going to add cinnamon. I like cinnamon, so it's going to be a lot of cinnamon. So probably 3 tablespoons of cinnamon. Nothing worse than a cinnamon bun that doesn't taste like cinnamon. To this we're going to add brown sugar. Enough brown sugar to make it crumbly in your hands. Sugar. I'm going to be able to handle it with my hands. See if I added, so about another half a cup of sugar, half a cup of brown sugar. Probably a total of a cup of brown sugar packed. It's in a better consistency. I can crumble it with my fingers now. And I just put this aside and wait till the cinnamon roll dough has come out of the oven. Not out of the oven, out of the warm. It's only been 45 minutes, so it did pretty fast. It rose pretty fast. Of course, it's summertime. And this is what it looks like when it's risen. Nice. So now I'm going to get my scooper, scoop this out, and dump it out. And this is my nice dough for my cinnamon rolls. Now in the meantime, I had made my cinnamon stuff up, so all I have to do now is just roll this out. Oh, to about, that's about 16 inches by 12, 11. And it's about a quarter of an inch thick, maybe a little more thick. Okay, now we're a little bit so the cinnamon stuff will stick. That's it. Okay. And then I'm going to put, first of all, before I do my cinnamon stuff, put a little bit more. I want my raisins to stick. I don't want them to flop around, so put some raisins. Yeah, I know, this is kind of sloppy Jane. Sloppy Jane. A few more. You don't want too many raisins. Okay, that's enough raisins. And I'm going to push them down with my hand. That way they stay where they're supposed to be. Good. Okay. Now I'm going to take my cinnamon stuff and spread it. Smush them down with your hands. Ugh, it was awful. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to roll it up. Them raisins in there. Get in there, you raisin. Okay, roll it right up. See that now? How are you going to close this? Glad you asked. Get a little water in your fingers. And kind of pinch it. A little water in the flour makes like glue, because you know in flour there's gluten. And what is gluten? Glue. It's a glue protein. It's glue. Okay? Good. Now, what I'm going to do now is make sure it's nice and smooth out. Here we go. Okay? This here. In my pan, I have, now, I'm going to cut these into, make sure they're nice and, you can do this because it's fine. You still have enough flour here, it's not sticking. And I'm going to cut these into 12 pieces. Sharp knife. Right in the middle. Ba-boom. Middle. In the middle. I'll cut more now, see? 3. Okay, and into these, cut 3. 1, 2, 3. These 3. Right about there. And there. Right there. And about there. And there. And there. Okay. Put them in my pan. Whoops. 3. Whoops. And that's what they look like now. Nice, nice. Now I'm going to put they're going to have to rise again, but they're going to rise really quickly because the second rising always rises quicker. So, and that only took not even 10 minutes, 5 minutes to do that. Now I'm going to put a wet paper towel over the top of them. Or else you can put because you still have to keep them moist, otherwise they'll dry out while they're rising. Take a wet paper towel, wring it out a little bit so it's just damp. Oh, there's a raisin. Stick him right in there. And take the wet paper towel, put it over the top, and let it rise in a warm place till it's doubled again. It'll be puffing out of the thing, and then we'll bake them. We'll bake them. I'm going to check on the, I think they've risen enough. They've risen enough. So now I peel that off. Now I'm going to put my oven on to, okay, what will I put? Convect bake. Convect bake, let's see. Let's go to, I'm going to go 375 for 20 minutes. I like 375. Took these out of the oven. They were in at 375 degrees for, I compromised. Instead of 15 or 20, I went 18 minutes. And they look pretty good. They're nice. Okay, I'm going to take some, my rolls are out of the oven. They're just warm to the touch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some, those there, some confectionery sugar. Put confectionery sugar, maybe 3/4 of a cup. And a little bit of lemon extract. You can use vanilla, lemon, or orange. Just to give it a little zing flavor. And just a little bit of water. Coffee's done. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay. And that's a good amount. That's good. I can always use this tomorrow for something else if I want to. Oh, so got the consistency of Okay, so putting the drizzle on.